To the zone with RGB and Mike. Anthony's here too, let's ride the hype. Bigfoot's on the run, Area 51's tight. Digging deep for truth, we ain't afraid to fight. Flat Earth theories got us spinning wild. JFK secrets hidden in the files. Illuminati whispers, flashing crooked smiles. I won't tune in, sit back and stay a while. Conspiracy chaos, we uncover the lies. Deep state shadows, yeah they can't disguise. We're cracking codes, watch the truth arise. Let the chaos reign, tearing through the skies. CIA plots under moonlight schemes. Hidden agendas ain't as crazy as they seem. Voices in the dark amplifying dreams. Conspiracy chaos, nothing's what it seems. Follow the breadcrumbs, follow the light. In the rabbit hole with us, pitch black night. RGB and Mike, guided by our might. Anthony with wisdom, out of sight. Conspiracy chaos, we uncover the lies. Deep state shadows, yeah they can't disguise. We're cracking codes, watch the truth arise. Let the chaos reign, tearing through the skies.
Let's go. We're back with another episode of Conspiracy Chaos. Joining me, as always, is my co-host. We got Florida Mike and Area 51 Anthony. What's up, boys?
What's going on, my friend? How we doing?
Roger, it's been a great day, buddy.
Good.
It's been a good day.
Good. Big guest today, guys. Big guest. We're gonna go deep down the rabbit hole today. I got a feeling with Human Vibrations. Human Vibrations, appreciate you joining us here on Conspiracy Chaos.
RGB, thank you so much for having me. It's wonderful to be able to talk with one, but also a nice group of open-minded folks. I'm excited to see where this goes. So great, thanks for having me on. And we had a little discussion before we started recording. It's been a journey, so I'm glad we're here. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, five.
Raj, you broke up a little bit.
Yep, 5 years now. Yeah,
Right.
am I delayed?
No, a little
Yeah.
bit. You're good now. A little bit. But you're
All right,
good.
hold on.
Keep going.
All right. Yeah, 5 years ago now on the Tripoli's is the first time I heard about you. And to get in, we'll start off with what I first heard about was the JonBenét. Your theory on JonBenét that she didn't even exist. We're gonna go deep right off the rip. So let's hear a little bit about that.
This has been, this was my foundational exploration. The idea that something so universal, so ubiquitous, so all-encompassing, and for a while that was the JonBenét Ramsey story back in the mid-90s. She was on every cover of every magazine. She was truly a viral victim, like the idea of something going viral. Long before the internet, was something that we deal with every day. This was a truly viral case, and it's something I kind of grew up with, and it was just something that kind of haunted me, for a lack of a better term. In 2020, all of my JonBenét explorations, which had been about her being this victim of a horrible crime, as deep and as dark as you can imagine, that's where my mind was for a long time on the JonBenét case. I came to a realization in 2020 that all of those explorations were not just wrong, but entirely null. They were wrong in a way that was keeping me from seeing the inherent truth was that she wasn't a victim of a crime. She was what I am, understood then and continuing to understand now, a simulated victim. She didn't actually exist. She was a simulation. The whole story was a fabrication. And I go into this deeply, and if this is like such a wild idea for you to hear, I highly recommend going to my Twitter account. It's the pinned tweet. It's if you go to Human Vibration on Twitter, it's right there.
Right.
It's from 5 years ago, January of 2020. I keep it up as the pinned tweet because that was my original exploration, and everything that I have explored since then connects back to the fundamental ideas that I was piecing together in this discovery, because it's not just about fakery, because okay, what if it's fake? Well, what's the point? Why would anything be fake? Why would anything to this degree be faked? And that's something that I really explore in depth and have since. Ultimately, I think it goes back to our attention, our energy, our focused energy and attention. I called it loosh back in the day, back when I first wrote my original thread, because that term, which was coined by Dr. Robert Monroe, I'm not even sure how I feel about Dr. Robert Monroe anymore, but at the time he was kind of this arbiter of this idea that human beings had an energetic capacity, and this total energetic output was called loosh. And so that's where, this loosh is kind of like a precious resource, and it's kind of the juiciest thing within this realm. So the exploration of JonBenét goes down a lot of different avenues, and it goes really deep into technology. How would they pull this off? How could they pull this off back in the day? I argue that the technology that we're experiencing today, this generative AI, this very quote unquote advanced technology, existed then as well. It has actually always existed. It's not new technology. It's simply new to us, and that is something that I really, really, really think is going to rejig our understanding of this place, is when we can comprehend that this advanced tech has always existed, whether it's the generative AIs we are seeing with your ChatGPTs and your DALL-Es and your text to video capabilities now. I mean, just the reskinning instantaneously of styles, reimagined in any which way, instantaneously, all of that we understand now as kind of now, and that, but it's not just that type of technology. I do think that it has always existed, but it's other advanced technologies like 3D printing and laser-based holography, advanced holographic systems. I think that's also always been around and in use in a way that, because we didn't have knowledge of this type of thing even existing, we would have never thought, well, that's a hologram. I think Marilyn Monroe, her, whisper singing to JFK, if you look at the footage of that, she goes in and out of transparency as if she's like a ghost on stage. I think that was just a hologram. I actually argue that Marilyn Monroe isn't a real person. It's just an amalgamation. She's a Hollywood byproduct. And these starlets, these icons, icon to con the eye, I think a lot of them are amalgamations. They're actually, the star is as much a character as the characters they would play in a movie. Like your Tom Cruise. Not every Hollywood actor is fake, but I'm talking your biggies, your biggest of the bigs. Your
So
Tom Cruises.
I'm gonna interrupt right now
Please do, because I'll just go.
No, you're good. I heard a podcast.
I'm soaking it in.
Yeah,
I can't
I
stop
was
me.
listening.
No, the Tom Cruise comment is hilarious, because I don't remember the podcast that it was that I am thinking of, but you guys were talking about it, and you're so right, dude. Like, every time I see Tom Cruise, is a different Tom Cruise. I'm sorry, I'm not
He's slightly
crazy. Am I crazy?
Someone else is
No,
playing.
you're right.
It's like many actors playing one role. Oh, and you know what's so interesting is they show us this concept so beautifully in the Netflix series The Crown, which is all about the royal family. And every 2 seasons, I believe, they go ahead and just rotate out the entire playbook. Like, whoever plays
the
the
whole
queen,
cast, yeah.
new person who plays the queen, new person who plays Prince Charles, new person who plays all of them swiped out anew. There's not one contiguous character that straddles the seasons. And I think that they're telling us something deeper with it. They'll go, oh yeah, we don't want to age the actors, so we're just, getting a more age appropriate someone to play this season of their life. That's their explanation. It's a perfectly plausible explanation. But it also is showing us perhaps how it's actually done with, I argue, the royal families, but also Hollywood royalty. It is a character that is played by multiple base actors over a lifetime. And for the biggies, like, you can go back and you can Google a Tom Cruise, and you'll look at all these different iterations of his lifetime, and you're like, this era Tom Cruise looks to be played by a very specific type of person, like a facial phenotype. I'm jiving, and then it kind of zigs over here, and then it kind of zigs over here. And you'll notice a lot of Hollywood actors, there's always these headlines that go, oh, so-and-so is unrecognizable. So-and-so is unrecognizable from their former self. And they'll blame, plastic surgery, and they'll blame extreme weight gain or weight loss, or drug abuse, there's all these different ways to, like, explain away why the person doesn't really look like the person anymore. They'll go, oh, well, Oprah lost 1,000 pounds. Of course she's going to look different. Oh, well, she gained 1,000 pounds back. She's looks a little different now. In reality, it's just a really clever way to like put in that new character who's playing the person, and everyone's like, well, they look different. But it's like, well, of course they look different. It's the weight gain or it's the plastic surgery, you know. But in reality, there's something going on a little bit. And one last thing, shout out to my co-host on Realize Radio, Rambo. He has been doing this from day one. It's not about the new Hollywood magics, your CGIs, your green screens, your overlays, your really it's the old Hollywood magic too. Your silicone masks, your wigs, your teeth, your all these like practical effects that don't require any sort of you know a trickery on screen. It's all just you know sleight of hand in person.
Florida Mike always talks about Mrs. Doubtfire, and it's like a perfect example.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That is when I said wigs and teeth, I literally was thinking of that one where she's taking out her thing and it goes, oh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And when they're trying on Mrs. Doubtfire, they're trying to figure out which look she's going to have. And they keep putting on all these different faces and he's like singing these different songs and he inhabits the new, you know, and all it takes is like a new shade of eyeshadow and a new wig and ta-da, you've got a completely new person. And you can do so much. I have argued for a long time on Realize Radio that Taylor Swift is just a wig and teeth. That is the character of Taylor Swift. That's all you need. You rotate out another skinny white girl. You shove those teeth in her mouth. You slap on that wig. And she's Taylor. You know, you got Taylor Swift.
Or what's the other one? Ariana Grande. Have you seen her?
Unrecognizable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
How about Keanu Reeves, who never ages?
That's weird. Yeah.
He never ages.
Wake up, Neo.
That's a weird rabbit hole for sure.
Oh man. And no one ever talks about him. That tells you like how like interesting it is, but there's the crazy theories on him.
He is included in these weird random stories about like nicest guys in Hollywood, you know?
Always
like
talking how good he is. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like
Super
randomly
loner.
Keanu Reeves. Mm-hmm. Something about that doesn't seem quite right. And speaking of these celebrities that can, you know, they're beloved, but also we're like, a little something there. The Tom Hanks of it all, you know, oh boy.
What a filthy man.
Well, here's the thing. Of course, I'm going to have to do my human vibration all over this little topic because,
please,
you know,
yes,
I mean, for a long time, I was like, he's eating babies. He's with Oprah and Gayle with the hot dog clock pointed at pedophile o'clock. You know, it's unsavory to say the least what this man is up to. That's where my mind was for a really long time. I was really deep into Q, I read every single Podesta email there was to read. Good Lord, I lost a lot of time and precious energy down that wasteland. But in kind of exploring all of that, you recognize what is powerful and important about these characters and these idols is that they can hold both things to be true at one time. They can both be beloved. Many people see you say Tom Hanks, and people are like, oh yeah, Oscar winner actor. Every man, they'll rattle off all these movies that he's been in, and he's absolutely beloved. At the same time, while all these people believe that he is just the best of the best, there's a whole subset of the population that actually believes that not only is he a bad boy, but he's like eating children. I mean, it's not just bad, but it's like the worst you could ever possibly be.
Sure.
And yet there he is, Tom Hanks, and so it just makes and then he's like getting Egyptian passports, and it's very strange. And he's Mr. COVID. He was the first one he was like locked up during COVID, releasing those very strange communiques from his like weird hotel prison.
Well, remember, when he was locked up, there was the air conditioner or whatever behind him had like a certain serial number that's like registered to like air conditions or whatever that are
prisons.
Like, and like government buildings or something like that. Yeah.
And that fed the fuel. And so my mind, we're taking on all this stuff as there's like a subset of the population who's just watching this and they're going, oh, wasn't that sad? He has to stay in quarantine for a couple weeks, you know? And that's like as far as their mind will go. Is like, oh, poor Tom Hanks, you know, he's in this conundrum, you know, what's for breakfast? And then there's other people that are watching this very same thing, the same message, same whatever. We're losing our fucking minds. We're going, that thing's registered to a prison, and then, you know, we're taking it to the absolute extreme, and then we're being shown these images of him getting off the airplane, and it sure looks like he's being arrested on the tarmac. But other people just see that and go, oh, he's just getting he's on a private plane. He's getting his bags taken for him. And there's something in my explorations, in my going down to the darkest depths, I just realized it is the ability to hold both. It's like and that creates power, because that is polarization, when there can be so much packed in. And that's why that explains all the humiliation rituals, all of our greatest, your Kobe's, your Tigers, name any athlete superstar, a lot of the football, soccer players, you know,
Michael Jordan.
Everyone catches a scandal, and then they come out more beloved somehow. They come out. I mean, Kobe was a freaking god when he passed. I mean, again, right before COVID, also very weird. He was buried in Corona. Very strange. Corona Cemetery, Corona Del Mar.
I didn't even know that.
That's
so
a
weird.
little interesting. There's just so much, but I think all these juicy tidbits, these juicy connections, I think are bait for us, for conspiracy-minded people that are kind of understand that there's something else going on. We're not really getting the real deal. I think that sometimes we get distracted by low-hanging fruit, like that can just distract us. I consider, when I was reading through Podesta emails and all that stuff, you know, reading every Q drop and, you know, just deciphering it every which way, I lost something of myself. I mean, I lost so much time. I remember I was at a wedding. It was like 2017 or 2018, and I was at a wedding, and it was the summer, and everyone's dancing on the dance floor, and I'm just sitting there looking at Podesta art, I'm down the Q rabbit hole while everybody else is dancing, enjoying this beautiful day. Same thing with Thanksgiving dinners. I remember I would be like sitting there like, how can we even be eating turkey when there are children in the tunnels? You know? All that to say, I've been there. I get it. It's entrapment. It's mental entrapment. Not that I'm suggesting there's not bad stuff in the world. And this is where a lot of people kind of have issue with the way that I look at these stories. I know bad shit happens, but it's usually pretty close to home. The call's usually coming from inside the house. There's a lot of hurt people. Bad shit happens all the time. But your mass terror events, and we all know what I'm talking about, I don't buy them. I simply do not believe in the fidelity of these events. I'm not saying they didn't happen. On 9/11, 2 towers were standing. At the end of the day, they weren't standing anymore. But that's about as far as I'll agree with the official narrative. You know,
absolutely.
They were there, and then they weren't there. Okay,
That was funny, because listening back to the Triple E episode, the tinfoil hat, and then when he was like so mind blown when you said that, I just started laughing. I was like, oh man, and
Can we take a moment to appreciate that? Like I was going along so smoothly. I was making some good points on JonBenét. We were down to the last 5 minutes of that, and then
it's that literally.
Yeah, and then I went, let me just go ahead and take this record and go skrrr.
It was like, oh.
Dude, I mean, listen, I have my mom, and she's 70 years old, though, finally understanding that the towers came down from other reasons other than planes. And I finally explained to her, I said, listen, Mom, I said, go watch thousands of demolitions and controlled demolitions and watch buildings fall. And
ask her about building 6 and 7.
Sure. No,
Yeah,
I know
6 and
exactly.
7.
They all listen. We all have seen controlled demolitions. I enjoy going on YouTube and watching controlled demolitions. It's fun. It's fun to do. It's a fun thing to watch, dude.
Mhm.
Dude,
Just
these
like that
buildings.
Baltimore Bridge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. But these buildings came down. I don't care what you say. These buildings came down with a controlled demolition.
They
However did it,
match. Yeah,
100%.
100%.
whoever did it, I
Into
don't
their
know.
own footprint.
Right? Yeah,
Yep.
insane. Absolutely insane. So
Never
Before we
bought
get
it
to
once. From when it happened, I never bought it.
right. What do you got,
And,
Raj?
before we get too far away from like the Ramsey and the Kobe thing, that those two, which I did not know until you brought it up, was they tie in. John Bonet, what was it?
Yeah.
Her father had the same lawyer as
Yes.
Kobe Bryant when he was on trial for the rape.
Stop
Lynn
it.
Wood.
And all
Lucius
tied into-
Lynn Wood.
Well,
No way.
He's mixed in everybody. So I have a tweet where I list he's mixed in with the Atlanta bomber. Okay, so yeah, this guy named Lucius Linwood, he made a big name for himself, not like kind of with the Q stuff. He was all back in the first Trump run. He was kind of everywhere, but he was a lawyer to a lot of these characters. He represented Kobe's accuser in his Colorado rape case. His firm represented Ghislaine Maxwell. They also represented the John and Patsy Ramsey after the whole John Bonet thing went down. Did or did not go down. Yeah, he's mixed up in so many. And it's there's actually a really long list. And if you're curious about, I use my Twitter as an encyclopedia. I
Okay.
will look up like I'll go to my Twitter and I'll look up like Lynn Wood or whatever, and I'll see all the tweets I have on there because there's a plenty. So if you're curious about these connections, please look at it because he's mixed up in so many of these very quote unquote Lucy stories. And at the end of the day, you kind of have to ask yourself, like, what are the odds? What are the odds of these characters intermingling so directly? My argument is that it's like, the pool of deception may appear wide and vast, but it's actually very shallow. Once you start wading into it, it's a remarkably shallow ecosphere. And so, of course, this guy who represented this big idol has to be connected with this guy who's within this idol because they really only exist in their own shared shallow universe. I know people are going to say like, "Hey, I've seen a celebrity before." I have too. I've seen many celebrities, or so I've thought. I've been in situations where it could have been anybody under that, it could have been. There was one time I was completely convinced that I had danced with Lindsay Lohan at a nightclub simply because a little tornado of red hair came within like 6 inches of me and was like spinning around on the dance floor and then ran off into the private bathroom and everyone said, "That was Lindsay Lohan." And we were all like, "Oh my God, it was. It was." No, nobody really saw her, but it was just, there's people that I know people that work at SpaceX and like, "I've seen Elon. Elon's come and he talks to us all the time." And it's like, well, I'm sure you have these all hands meetings where he's on some like, big theater, and he's like, or walking through, glad handing people, but wearing sunglasses from far away, security all around him. You're not really interacting with him in a way that you're able to really, really see who that is. And again, it's like a nebulous target. Elon looks a little different every so often. And so who's to say that person who kind of looks like Elon, anyway, there's
what if,
Well-
okay, so how do you explain, I'm going to push back a little bit. So how do you
Yeah.
explain, like, say I go to an NBA game and I sit courtside and I see a LeBron James and I see like, what's your, like, your
so
theory
this is the one that we have not cracked the code on, but me and Rambo love to kick around some sort of advanced holographic projection, some sort of, we've explored, are these animatronic robotics? Are they like what we're seeing now? We're actually are seeing quite a few. Even the NBA channel shared these shooting robots that exist that are just like perfect, and they can mimic too. Now they're showing these animatronics that are not just capable of this very, shoot, this like very mechanized process. They're showing these animatronics that can actually learn through machine learning, being fed all this gameplay, being fed thousands and thousands of hours of professional gameplay, they can begin to mimic precisely the motions and the movements of your biggest players. An animatronic that has the exact same jump shot as Jordan, the same little flick of the wrist, the same finesse, the same walking on air capabilities,
Similar to like when they make the video games and they put them in the green screen and they put them in the green suits with the things
Yep.
all attached.
Yeah.
Similar to
And
that.
I've also kind of wondered, those green screen men, take that, but make it a little bit more like physical. Imagine a green screen suit that you have now projected on like a super muscular entity, but like below it, it's just kind of this like whatever base, like this mechanical base that kind of looks humanoid, but you can overlay. And we're now learning about physical holograms that there's all these stories about light being captured as a physical element now, the physicality of light, physical holograms that you can interact with and feel. That's kind of where we're at right now, that there's some sort of like holographic overlay on some of these players.
It could be from the court itself or the football field itself, like in the arena, could be set up to where when the lights turn on in the arena, that's when these holograms.
I think most of them are real though. And here's the thing too. I think all of these industries are very real, like the Hollywood industry. I know people that work in Hollywood. I work adjacent to film production. Like I'm very aware of the real industry. I know people make their livelihoods. I know animators and directors and DPs. I know that there's a real industry, but sometimes I think these grand industries hide an inherent hollowness. Same thing with the space industry. I know people that work at NASA. I know people that work at SpaceX. That doesn't make space real. That just makes the industry set up in such a way that it is so grand that no one would ever question the job being done. And there's also real work being done. There's, the person I know who works at NASA, they kind of crunch numbers. They're fed these numbers, these rocket reports or whatever, they have to measure the cycles of I don't even know I'm so out of space talk, the orbits and all that stuff. They have to measure all that, and they have to crunch the numbers and make sure that all their calculations are matching what these calculations were. And then they send it off to another party. Like everything is siloed, and they trust that the numbers that they're getting mean anything at all. And that the processes that they're doing to the numbers contribute to anything at all. The work is all very separate.
Can we get into the space talk, since you kind of brought it up a little bit? Can we get into the space talk? Listen, I love your knowledge on everything. And I mean, I used to be a big space guy. Now I'm a conspiracy guy, and I think they're full of shit. I don't think there's any space. I mean, the fact that
they're showing us isn't real. Could be something else out there. I don't know. None of us know.
Go ahead, Raj.
Yeah, Anthony's really new to the conspiracy. So, like, within the past year, Anthony's really jumped on the conspiracy bandwagon. So, like, I love. There's so much stuff. Like, he's probably sitting there right now going, JonBenét didn't exist. What the fuck? You know what I mean?
I listened to that podcast, and I was prepared on that, and it's pretty fucking wild. It's pretty fucking wild, I'll tell you. It's fun. It's interesting, and I did my research on it. Don't you worry. I did my research on it. But let's go into the space talk, man. Let's go into the space talk, bro. What's your thoughts? Just give me your down though on your thoughts from the beginning. What's your thoughts?
Okay. Let's just start with the idea that space is fake. Why? Why would why would they fake something so massive? And so I think something that really connected the dots for me. I think that we are really, really powerful. I think that we as human beings here in this realm, whatever it is, flat or round, and I think that argument is just designed to keep us arguing. Doesn't really matter. I think it's like a shapeless realm, but I think that all of this space idea, this galactic, ever expanding outer space that is just so vast that we can't even imagine the totality of it, much less our position in it. We're just like little absolute space dust in this, ever expanding. We're just nothing. We matter not. And I think ultimately that is what space is designed for us to do, is to lock in our mindset that we're kind of like these nothing specks
Mhm.
amidst a vast imports. Like all the answers are up there, out there. And this is coupled, I think, as well with an idea that we also learn in childhood: space and dinosaurs. We learn those at the same time. Like
Mhm.
every kid is obsessed with space. Every kid is obsessed with dinosaurs. And sometimes you'll see backpacks with like dinosaurs wearing astronaut outfits. Like they really, really, really couple these together.
You're right. You're right.
So
Remember.
space gets us this big kind of up and out. You don't matter. Everything important, everything that needs to be learned or even conquered is out there. Elon going to Mars. That's what I'm thinking of. And then dinosaurs make us believe in this kind of incredible far back, like this deep, 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 deep history. And I personally don't believe in a deep history. I don't believe in a deep space, and I don't believe in a deep history. I think both of these ideas, they're kind of tied to each other. Like if you looked at it on like an XY chart, like space is making our mind believe up and over here, and then dinosaurs are making our mind believe up and over there. And I think they're both designed to keep us from ever really looking like right here, right now for answers, within for answers. I think that it's these fundamental kind of like building blocks of education, but with the term block meaning to like physically block us. I think that so much of what we learn is designed to make us believe in a narrative that undercuts us, that undercuts how much influence we have in this place, what our power, our purpose, and our positioning within whatever this place is, whether it's spherical orb spinning through space. I mean, no fucking way. No, I can't even entertain that. No.
What's the speed? What's the
Are you a
speed?
flat earther?
Isn't it like 9? Isn't it like something with 236 miles per hour or something? And
It's a lot. It's
Oh,
very
it's insane. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
50.
so fast.
and we
So-
don't feel, and there's never a disturbance. There's never, and not only is that spinning, once you get out of that, like then you're also spinning. You're spinning
Right.
while
Yeah,
you
a
spin.
million
Like there's
times. I know.
so much spin, and even the word.
And why are we the only rotating
Spin.
planet?
Wait, what? I don't even. We're the only ones. We're the special ones that rotate. We get more spin.
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure.
I've honestly tried to just exit all that stuff out of my brain. It wouldn't surprise me if we were the only ones. But even the idea of spinning, like it's just to spin a yarn is like to tell a lie, to spin a tale, to spin a web. There's a lot of, even spin, media spin, they'll put a spin on it. It means that they're,
So Raj, I heard Raj say, what are your thoughts on the flat earth theory then that people speak of?
My thoughts on the flat earth verse, well, objectively, I gotta say it appears flat. When I take in this earth around me through my round eyeballs, which we should be accounting that for something, we have spherical eyeballs, that's doing something with how we take in this world around us. It does appear flat, but I want us to not get so hung up on how things appear, because if you look down a road or a sidewalk, that sidewalk appears to converge at the horizon line. Like that sidewalk is like straight, but it's like ahead of you. Why it's like coming into a point. We know that the sidewalk doesn't do that. We know that the sidewalk continues on just as it always does. But the way that we perceive our world, it comes to a very fine point. The sidewalk ends, and there's all these strange corrections and illusions and fixes that are going on with our vision. It's just it's just how we're processing the world around us. I think that it's designed to look a certain way and feel a certain way. They fill us our brains up with garbage that doesn't at all relate to how it looks around us. We're like, sure does look flat, but it's round. Sure does seem calm, but it's spinning. All these things. It just they're both false, I think, somehow. And I think it creates this bifurcation of the mind. Neither will lead you in the right direction. I think
I always thought the ocean was space.
it probably is. You know, it's more unexplored. It really isn't. I mean, and who really knows what happens past that horizon line? I don't know. You know,
Mhm.
There's
Well,
Exactly.
there's so much of the ocean. They're even admitting that's been unexplored and
right.
unseen. Like, what is
NASA
out
gave
there?
up on the ocean, man.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's just so much. It's
NASA
so
And
deep.
when
started
you
this
look at
ocean
the
and went to space.
map or the orb, when you look at the sphere map, you know, they always show us the side with all the countries, all, you know, happy dappy, all the countries there. It looks nice. But if you were to spin it around, there's like a totally empty side of the earth. It's just ocean. What are the odds of that too? What are the odds there'd be like a completely empty side, like its little backside is empty, you know? It reminds me of the idea of like the Potemkin Village or like the Hollywood facade where it just looks like the front of a house, but then behind it, it's just on stilts. It's just the frame. It's, you know,
Yeah.
that's what that's what I visualize.
All right,
Now.
I'm going to bring something up here because you wanted us to bring it up in the podcast. The locked door theory. Tell me what the locked door theory is all about, if you don't mind explaining it to me, because
And this kind of goes with space a little bit because
All
we
right,
can't we can't really go there ourselves. I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, so the locked door theory, this one more relates to the big conspiracies, the things that we're not really allowed to talk about.
okay.
Your Sandy Hooks, for one. Sandy Hook, I think, falls into this locked door theory.
Mm-hmm.
The theory goes that when we see something that is protected, when we see a locked door, this also goes to the Fort Knox situation, but when we see something that's highly protected, highly enforced, we assume that behind those protections, behind those locks, is something very valuable, is something very secretive, is something of great importance that must be protected. And we just go ahead and assume that. Why would they make a lock on the door if they weren't trying to hide something, you know,
Mhm.
hide something meaningful? And there's certain topics that are locked doors. Holocaust, that's an absolute locked door. You know, you that's one that you want to start. Another locked door is something I brought up on Sam's podcast 5 years ago, that nobody died on 9/11. And I don't think we have to go into that deeply today, but that is an exploration, and it was a real hot button when I brought it up. That would absolutely classify that as a locked door.
Right.
You can't knock on that door. We can't knock on the Sandy Hook door. We can't knock on the Holocaust door. We can't knock on those doors.
Yeah, it's like the no touch zone. No,
Yeah.
don't even talk about it.
Like
And
the
I
P
think-
family, right?
Mhm.
Of that family. Yeah.
You know about the P family?
I don't know about the P family.
So it was a couple episodes after you were on, episode 314 on Tinfoil.
Okay.
And after he posted that, it was Mel K was the guest. And he got shut down on everything. His YouTube got shut down. His Instagram got taken away. Twitter got shut down. Like everything got shut down when he mentioned this family. We don't like to say it because I don't want to go in the dark waters and get us kicked off of YouTube right off the rip. But yeah, I can actually. Yeah, so
Send it to him.
this after he did that, he got banned from pretty much everything.
I'm going to try to bring it up, just the screen share, Raj, for a second.
I got it, Anth. I'm going to put it in the comments so she knows what we're talking about.
Yeah.
All right,
Um,
got it. Good.
I got you, but
Maybe that's one.
but
of
yeah,
them.
so
Maybe
that happened.
one of the locked doors. You're not supposed to lock. You're not
It's
supposed to knock on
honestly,
them.
it's definitely
It makes sense.
it's definitely
It makes
on the
a lot
lock.
of sense.
But beyond that, you know, you're not supposed to talk about it. You're not supposed to talk about it. Why? My argument is not because it's so precious or hallowed. You know, it's just too kind of important to ever be reimagined, or, you know, reexamined, or scrutinized. Really, it's rude. It's improper to scrutinize certain things. And I think sometimes those things that we're told we cannot scrutinize, it's because it's hiding an inherent hollowness. There's, you know, when I start looking into a lot of these stories, they just fall apart like a $3 watch. We're not really supposed to look into them too closely. There's, you know, I don't want to go too deeply into the Holocaust, but even just the idea of Anne Frank. Everybody learns about Anne Frank in school. She's one of those things. It's foundational. Her name, Anne Frank. Anne means anti or not. Frank means truthful, truthful speech.
Jeez.
So it's
Stop
like Anne Frank right there. Not Frank, not truthful.
Yep.
The whole ballpoint pen thing, you know, how the certain areas of her diary were written in a style of pen that didn't exist at that time either. Like it's just countless, you know, like if Anne Frank wasn't real, what else are they? Why would they make this diary? Why would, and then why is it in every school? Well, they made it because they need something, a vehicle to introduce this topic and this story into them. I don't even believe in the Holocaust. I said it. I will say it. I will say it.
That's
And
what's up.
and this is the words of Human Vibration. It is not the words of Conspiracy Chaos. I will say that. I am happy to go out on this little limb all by my lonesome.
No,
I
we're
just
with
don't
you.
believe
I'm
it.
going with you. Can't let you go by yourself. I'll go
Let's
with
go. Let's go. I just
Love
don't
it.
buy it. I don't buy. I feel like same thing
Tell
with
us
American
why.
slavery. That's our original sin as a country. I don't buy that narrative. Not saying that everybody was holding hands all the time. I think there's been some real shitty things happen interracially for certain. But I think a lot of those shitty things were actually byproducts of false narratives. People being
Absolutely.
taught and told that they've been oppressed and or that they are they're the master. You know, they're these weird things that we're born into, these weird narratives that if you don't question it, you're going to adopt it and repeat it. They always say, if you don't learn history, you're doomed to repeat it. That's bullshit. Because we learn history, we become doomed to these loops, these roles, these looping roles, these cycles that we fall into without even realizing it, because that's just life as we know it. I think so much is, history, fake, space, fake, religion, like, and I'm not saying that there aren't meaningful, important things that I think I think all of these organizations and organized systems exist because they are vehicles of information that needs to get to us somehow. Like, I think all religions share certain thematics, and that's not a coincidence. That's because there are certain thematics that actually are really important, and we
Yeah.
do need to know them, irregardless of the vehicle that they've arrived in, all dressed up as religion with a capital R. It's just like a systematic delivery system, because it must get certain messages, certain thematics that shape us and shape who we are as a people. I don't even think we should be using language as much as I love to talk. And you guys have obviously seen that just in this short
We've
time.
enjoyed it.
I love
Yes,
to
very
talk,
much so.
but it's,
Awesome.
I think our words are not built for true communication and understanding or intent. It's communication, or language is really kind of more of a tool to deceive, less than a tool to communicate. And there's all these, they call it spelling for a reason. There are all sorts of energetic expressions coming out of us that have nothing to do with the words per se, but it's more of the incantations and the sounds that come out of our mouth. I mean, people explore language all the time, like even saying good morning to a fellow passerby. Morning is such a strange word. That's hearkening of death.
Yep.
What's going on there? What are we really doing when we say these things? But they're subconscious. Do we have any awareness of, and that goes back to, again, I think we're so powerful. I think human beings are ridiculously powerful, the most powerful and magical creatures here in this realm. And we just our power has been hijacked. We don't even know. We are never really allowed to know.
They jacked our loose.
They jacked our fucking loose. And
That
as
guy Lucius must have
quote
it.
Sam Tripoli quoting me, they jacked our loose. I just said loose, and he took it to the next level. But
I
yeah,
love
jacking
that.
our loose. I want
He
a
made a
jacking our
t-shirt
loose
too,
shirt.
didn't
Huh?
he? Yeah, he made a shirt too, didn't he?
Yeah, he made a shirt. I want that shirt. I would.
Oh my God,
proudly wear
really?
that.
That's awesome. I support the shirt. But hey, I got to know your thoughts on this now. I have this up. I brought it up here because this is another awesome conspiracy topic. What's your thoughts on what's going on in the pyramids? And is any of that stuff true that we've been hearing with like the energy? I heard a lot of it was bullshit.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the pyramids in general? I need to hear your thoughts on why the pyramids are there and what they're all about.
So you mentioned something about energy and how this is all these new explorations are about energy. Yeah, I'm with. I think if they exist as anything, there's some sort of, whether they themselves are energetic containers or generators, or they're just metaphors for perhaps us. Like pyramid means pyro, flame, mid, center, mid, inner flame. I think that the pyramids as temples represent our body systems, because we are also, our body is a temple. We are also pyramids. We have an inner heat circulate, an inner flame. I think that they're like weirdly a metaphor for us, but I thought that before this current iteration of memes happening around, with showing all the scans, what's beneath the pyramids and stuff, which is interesting because those images are not new. I remember seeing those as like obelisks, beneath the points of the pyramids or the top of obelisk. I remember seeing those types of images, same images, just kind of rejiggered, a different way. I remember seeing those a couple of years ago. So to having them come back around, that same kind of image showing something beneath the pyramids, now be just kicked around as like truth, this is a massive discovery. I was like, this is the same, I call them cartoons. These are the same cartoons that we saw a couple of years ago. They just changed from obelisk beneath, they just changed it to like some swirls and coils and stuff. Same picture though. Very strange how that we're treating this as canon. We're treating this as like new and novel, and very, very strange there. I don't believe in a deep history. And I did a presentation for Rise Above Live a couple of years ago, and I included a lot of the Egyptian discussion because I think that it's all made up. But it's important, again, like it's weird talking about technology back in the day. I think hieroglyphics are represented modern day as emojis. Like we're living in a world of hieroglyphics now, these symbol based communication systems where one image represents a complete thought. I've sent many texts that are just a series of emojis, and that's like my full message, and it's like message absolutely received. We've all done that. We know what that's like. And that's modern day hieroglyphics. And I think that perhaps, I think that these periods of time, whether or not they actually took place, I think that we're meant to learn about them. We're meant to have a concept and understanding of these eras. And it usually always goes around our energy. Somehow everything always points to our energy. At the end of the day, all the Egyptian stuff is about, they had all these like interesting water-based, waterway systems, and it was all about energy collection systems. And then the temples, they could be, again, all these explorations of the energetic. And again, everything kind of goes back to how important energy is. And I would argue that it's not just any energy, it's our energy that is the most precious resource within this realm. And we pay attention, truly, our attention is a currency. It's a form of currency, a very precious form of currency. And we pay that toll when we give away our attention very freely to whatever it is, whether it's a story, whether it's the latest true crime podcast or the latest documentary on Netflix. JonBenet has a new documentary coming out like every single year. Like it's
crazy. It won't go away.
It won't go away, Raj.
Until we get off. I say this all the time. We will continue to spin and spin and spin and spin on this nightmarish carousel until and unless we willingly and deliberately exit the ride. We have to be the ones to go, no more. And even for me, I'm obsessed with JonBenet, but this new Netflix one dropped late last year. I watched about 10 seconds of it, and I said, I can't give this. I cannot, as much as like I want to watch what they've done and like see if I can see all the winks and sinks inside this little program. I was like, I have no appetite for this, and I can't like throw my energy towards this. I can't burn it off on this. Exactly.
I literally have pretty much cut the cord. So I'm I used to watch was a baseball fan growing up. Watched every Yankee game.
Oh,
Watched
wow.
a bunch of sporting events. Now I watch college football. I watch my Miami Hurricanes, and I watch like some UFC just for like entertainment. Watch some guys beat the shit out of each other for a little while for something to do. But like I used to not miss a sport like a Yankee game or a football game or something like that. Now it's like, or like I used to watch all the TV shows. I don't watch.
That's your
Like,
heart. It's like your true heart. You're pouring your heart and soul into sports and probably your family too. You probably were raised in like a Yankees family, and that's like what you do to bond, to connect with your dad. You guys don't talk about real stuff, but you can talk about the Yankees all day long. You know, like it's sports becomes life. And that's also a slippery slope because they want, what else does sports do? Not only, it connects you, sure. Yeah, it can give you warm and fuzzies, but it also very effectively pulls that sweet, sweet energy from you every single week, every single day. You pretty much, because if your damn Yankees lose, which they will, you're going to be busted about it for days until the next game, and that's every team. And that's how it's designed. Again, my co-host Rambo, he lives in Manchester, and that's Mecca for the football, soccer world over there.
Right? Yep.
Yeah. And same thing. He kind of was raised. It's like it's everywhere. It's everything. And then there's a certain point where you kind of like blink twice, and you look around. And you're like, okay, I don't think I'm in this frequency anymore. Like I can't, I'm like, I've somehow disconnected from this radio band. And I'm like, I'm no longer in it as much as I used to be. And you use the word disconnect, RGB. You said you're disconnected, you cut the, untethered, cut the cord.
Yeah.
It's a real physical tether.
Mm-hmm.
That holds us down. And it's going to be sports for you. It's going to be a different thing for everybody. And I think a lot of, I don't really have an opinion on like substances. I think people should do whatever, whatever you go have fun, people. But I think addictions are oh man, I mean, that is just an inferno for your energy and your attention. Because if you have a raging addiction, no matter what you're doing, whether you're at the grocery store or you're with your kids at a picnic, some of those things happen less and less in active addiction. But if you're doing anything, your mind back here is on something else entirely, constantly. You're never off that mental. And that's like that can be with nicotine, that can be with hard drugs. It can even be, things as ubiquitous as food, alcohol, sugar. It turns, we can fiend over a lot of things. And I think that's, like cigarettes and stuff. I don't think nicotine is necessarily bad, but I think cigarettes as a delivery system were designed to addict us because it has the hand to mouth, it has the chemicals, of course, which are addictive, but it's the behavior around it. And I mean, if a smoker, it's just that their mind can't not, you're no matter what you're doing, you're always like about 15 minutes away from really wanting a cigarette.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on, just curious, your thoughts on gambling addiction?
I love that you brought this up.
I'm a recovering, going on 2 years in recovery. So huge gambling addict. And part of the reason why I did this podcasting world was to get away from the gambling. So I'm curious your thoughts because it was a huge addiction and a huge problem with me.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that you went through the most soul sucking.
Yes, almost lost my family. But go ahead.
Yeah, my dad was a gambling addict, and he gambled away our livelihood many times, and it caused. It wasn't just about the financial security. It was so many things. It really steals your soul, and it really creates chaos within a system. And gambling is just it's legal, it's there's lots of ways that it's illegal, but because you can do it and you can do it legally, it makes its way into life without being it's like a Trojan horse that passes those gates. Like there's things that are illegal that we are not so quick to do or get pulled into because there's a few barriers to entry. Gambling is one of those addictions where you can just like freely access in so many different forms now. It's everywhere with with the sports betting on apps. You don't ever have to step foot in Las Vegas to be active gambling. I think I don't know how it works, but I know that it does work just the same as a substance were to work in the brain. Gambling mimics exactly like a hit of crack, or I mean, it
Yep.
is,
I mean, I've done hard drugs in my past. I
Mhm.
don't do them anymore, but it certainly does. It hits you like that. And what I'm going to say is the depression that I would get after, like, so I've tried quitting gambling many, many, many times. Almost lost my wife a couple times, but that's a different story. But well, the wife used to say to me was, like, how can you having such a hard time with this, with the gambling? You have such a beautiful family. You have 2 girls, and I used to just say, I don't know. I'm just depressed. Like, it sucks. Like, to me, it sucks. Like, to know that I didn't have a bet in. Like, it brought my
Mhm.
like will down in my personality. So I think a lot of it is like a depression.
Oh
That's
yeah.
the feeling that I got.
And it's the
So
only
it's
way
hard.
out seemingly in your body system. Like the only way to zap you out of that deep depression is to have a good bet, and then you're on top, and then you're absolutely on top of the world momentarily.
Yeah.
But like that's the only way you can get to that top position.
Mhm. No, I know
Yeah.
Roger might yell at me, and I'm gonna do this throughout because I heard you say it in a podcast, but I used mushrooms to help me get off of, so that problem, and I'll tell you what, psychedelics changed my life. I'm not gonna go into the big topic, but I'm curious your thoughts on it. If you wanna get into it, he's smiling over here. He's gonna yell at me.
I've
But go
yeah,
ahead.
I'm I'm cautious. I've experimented with psychedelics a handful of times. I've only gone psychedelic one time.
Yep.
The other times have been, I guess, what you would classify as like a microdose.
Micro. Yeah, no
Yeah.
doubt. That's what I
It
do.
felt
Yeah.
good, but I didn't
That's
like
what
have any,
no.
visions or anything. But I did have one
No.
experience where it also changed my life. It was my first. I was able to, from how I perceived it, I was able to see how my body system was a machine, and how my eyes were these cameras, and I was
Mhm.
taking in this kind of multi-plane existence, and I really got to see, I got to view the inner machinery of my optical system, which was delightful because as
Yeah,
human vibration is something that I am very, very interested in, and I explore quite a bit.
no
But
doubt.
there is something else about the gambling addiction. It's the false promise of
Mhm.
the way out. Because with the gambling addiction, you can delude yourself into believing, well, I can erase everything with the right bet. If I just hit the right bet, all those previous losses, all those previous failed, whatever, I can erase it with this one bet. If I just hit big, if I hit right, there's this
Yep.
weird
It's
thought that,
not there. I mean, here's the thing again, it was
but
never
that's
Chase,
false.
Chase,
It's never.
with the gambling mind, the mindset. I'll just tell you right now, it was never enough. It was never enough, no matter what I won. There's different people out there that can handle it. Like my dad, for instance, he could go just bet the Super Bowl, cash out, and be fine with one bet.
Mm.
Me, like, I never cashed out, and that's what I tell people. When you have a gambling problem, you don't cash out. You don't walk away from the casino when you're up. You never
Mhm.
leave ahead. It's just you want to give it all back. It's a serious sickness. It's bad, man. It's bad, and I'm scared for, like, I'm 43 years old. I'm scared for the younger generations out there, the kids out there that are 18, 19 years old, and
it's in it's constantly, like you guys are saying, it's in your face everywhere. If you're watching sports,
Everywhere.
Yeah.
every other commercial's a DraftKings or whatever
Every
commercial.
The crown is
And then
yours, fellas. The crown
yeah,
is yours.
yeah,
right.
The
Even those
agenda.
songs, like it's crazy. Every single
It's
one. Or
on
if you go on
every. Yeah.
any sports website, oh, boom, first thing scrolling across the top
it
is one of the
pisses me
bands.
off, dude. So I sit with Mikey, our other buddy, and we sit there and watch a baseball game, and we're like, at the very beginning of the game, they're talking about the parlays and they're talking about the hits, and like Mikey's very against gambling, our other friend, And it's like, why? Like, just why can't you enjoy a
They
game
used to
anymore?
never do that.
No,
Sportscasters never mentioned the
No.
line. You literally couldn't. It was
No.
indecent. You couldn't. Yeah, you couldn't.
Sure,
You couldn't
it's
talk
sick.
about
Now
it.
the only ones who don't pick the game, like they won't pick the game if they're calling the game. So like Kirk Herbstreit for ESPN, if he's doing the Saturday night Alabama Florida game, he's not going to tell you who his prediction is for the game because he's broadcasting.
Interesting. It's so interesting.
It is crazy. It is sick. Again, I barely even watch sports anymore. I'm not into it just because I think it's all a big lie. It's funny, like I think it's all a big script now
Well,
that I see
didn't the
it.
NFL, they even came out a couple seasons ago or last season with the NFL is scripted. They
Yeah.
literally released that. I was like, oh, cheeky, look at us. We're in on the joke. But no,
Well,
no.
we have the whole. Like, I mean, I love the whole Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce story too. I mean,
Yeah.
like, geez, how long do we have to see
It's
that?
Pfizer.
No, that's right. It is. But I mean, come on. It's like getting old. It's getting
The
old.
other thing I wanted to ask you about was the colors. I remember before you used to post the colors like at events or like tragedies or something. There would always be colors left behind. Like purple was always a big color.
Yeah.
What was that? I don't remember quite off the top, but what was that about?
Well, a lot of people track numbers and, the 33s in the headline and symbols and seeing certain symbols and numbers everywhere. I started noticing patterns with colors, specifically purple. And I just began to catch my eye. This hot pink, which is a shade of purple. That's something I explore pretty in depth on a lot of my channels. But I started noticing hot pink at a lot of, like, there was, especially in George Floyd. This is when I had this kind of understanding. There was these rallies and these protests, and there was this one that sticks out in my mind, and it was this, all I can describe it as, like a pink shirted pizza box guy. It was this guy that was like running around with a pizza box, and he was wearing a magenta shirt. And then there was a guy with a gas mask on, and they were like setting fire to the AutoZone. And it was just so bizarre. I was like, what is happening here? What am I watching? But something about his pink shirt just started, something about that magenta. Something stuck in my mind. It planted a seed. I began to see that color magenta in so many different, interesting scenarios. Jackie wore a magenta suit, for the JFK assassination. JonBenet Ramsey is often pictured in her magenta pageant dress. I started looking into magenta as a color, which is along something called the line of purples. Magenta actually isn't a true color on the color spectrum. It's created when you wrap the 2D color spectrum, which starts at R, Roy G. Biv starts at red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. So red's on one side, violet's on the other. A lot of people think violet is purple. Violet is not purple. They say roses are red, violets are blue. Violet is actually deepest blue, like the ocean. So you go from blue, indigo, violet, you're actually just going into deeper colors of blue. And so you don't get purple or pink, which is the center of purple, until you wrap that 2D light spectrum around in 3D space, and it kind of conjoins these polar opposite ends, the red on one side, the blue on the other, conjoins those opposite ends in something called the line of purples, which is basically like a zipper that just zips up this 2D light spectrum, makes it conjoin on itself, and creates a mixture of the red on one side, the blue on the other, creates a mixture called the line of purples. And it's all the shades of purple, from like bluey purple to reddy purple. And in the center is magenta. And magenta is, it's because of how it's created, it doesn't really exist in our actual light spectrum. It's only created when you bend light around, and it's kind of an optical illusion. It's an illusion that's created during this process, this bending of light process. And there's like a phrase like to light is truth, and to bend the light is to bend the truth. And I just started making this connection in my mind that this false color, this color that's created only and experienced in our minds through this process of wrapping the 2D spectrum in 3D space, something about this color feels to me like different and special and extra, and and representing of a process of an illusion of like of this kind of magnificent magic. And sometimes I say like magenta means magic enter, because I do think that there is something happening with it's like maybe prepping the eye to receive a trick of some sort.
Raj, I swear I did not wear this purple hoodie on purpose. I swear,
You've
dude.
got the pink cup. You've got some magenta right next to you.
Absolutely insane, dude. That's wild.
Yeah, I remember her bringing it up in the past, and I was always curious about what how deep.
You'll
like,
start seeing it everywhere. You'll start
Yeah.
seeing purples in it'll just, a news story will come out about a bombing in Syria, and the first frame, for whatever reason, is like a little girl wearing like a pink shirt, and she just like walks through the frame, and then she's no longer there. There's these. I get DMs all the time, or I get tagged all the time with someone just saying purple at Human Vibration. Like they see a video, there's purple in the frame or magenta or something, and people will tag me. And once you start noticing, the purples will kind of turn on for you. You will begin to see it in a lot of news stories. You will begin to see it in a lot of media, a lot of places, especially things that you want to give a second scrutinization, like, this doesn't really sound right. You'll notice that there's purple featured prominently. For me, that's one of those shorthands of this is not real. So for some other people, if they see like the gunman was 33 years old, sometimes we'll go, yeah, right. I
there
know
was
what that
13
means.
people injured. Yeah.
Right. And shout out again, Rambo, who is Seek the Truth 101 on Twitter. But he had noticed a long time ago that 22 was a number always used in like Islamic terrorists, specifically, like anything having to do with Muslim Brotherhood, Islamic, what have you. Like there was always a 22. It was the guy's age or the amount of victims or something. And so for certain flavors of story, there are certain symbols like coded in with that, certain numbers that go with it. And I think same thing with certain types of psyops. Like a lot of it has to do with, Madeleine McCann, who's a UK John Bonet. If you're not familiar with, it's the same thing. It's like a missing little girl, whatever, unsolved all this time. She's also photographed mostly or shown mostly in pink, magenta clothing for a lot of her photographs. And
Wow.
there's something.
It's almost like
deeper.
Hollywood, the symbolism you see in like the movies. Like I have a 7-year-old, so like all the symbols you see like from like the
that
pedophile
FBI
symbols.
list. Yeah.
So
They're in there.
watching
They're in there.
Moana's flag is one of the pedophile symbols. Like it's then you see the adrenochrome symbol, and like
I
was
do
watching.
think we're being fucked with though, with a lot of that stuff. Like,
Probably now because I'm so right.
And again, so the people will watch that and go, I can't believe they put the Moana flag as the pedo, and it's like, well, they did that to fuck with you. They
Raj,
did that
weren't
to
you,
Laugh in your face.
Raj, weren't you just in Disney and like
at the end of January?
Where was it that had the code that you sent us?
So Monsters Inc. They had the A103 for the adrenochrome.
Well, that is about fear harvesting, that whole thing.
And then
my argument with adrenochrome is ultimately the idea that they need our adrenalized blood outside of our bodies to be useful. That's a farce. It's just about having it course through our blood at all, like having us be adrenalized at all. Adrenalized blood, which we have all the time. Anytime you read a headline and go, or anytime you hear a story about school shooting and go, or anytime, that's adrenalized, that's adrenochrome right there. And it doesn't need to be harvested outside of our bodies. Like just the fact that we're reacting, just the fact that it courses through our veins, that's what's going out to the system. It's, it's not stored in vials to be used. It's all happening. Like, I think adrenochrome through Pedogate, Pizzagate, whatever, like the idea of the blood in the vials, I think it's a total fiction. However, I think it's telling us something very important, that our adrenalized blood is like the prize, is what everybody's going after. It is the thing. Yes, people are after our adrenalized blood, but it's not about drawing it from us. It's just about having it happen at all. That we're tricked that we will see that headline and we will go, but these days I see a headline and I just go, it doesn't hit me. It doesn't sting me like it used to.
Nothing, right?
Right.
Nothing
Immunity.
surprises me anymore. Yeah.
That's what, they talked about herd immunity in COVID. Well, now I'm immune to what I heard. So that's my herd immunity. And I think that that's the only one that matters.
That's awesome. That's
I
great.
love-
Sure.
I got sucked in and talked into half of the jab, and then I told the wife, "No, I'm not getting the other half. Go fuck yourself." Literally, like, sorry. Like, I read it.
How'd you get a half a jab?
No,
You
because
got one.
I got there.
Oh.
It was our thing was you had to go back. It was 2 parts. It was in 2 parts or something, and I got the first part, and then I remember reading up on it and like all this bullshit, and then they started the mandates and all this. It was like I just told the wife, I said, I'm not going to do it. I can't be a part of this. I mean, the problem was we were pregnant for our 3-year-old now, or 4.
Yeah, and you gotta be to go to the hospitals. You gotta be.
They were just like, yes, they were on us, and they were a pain in the balls. And but my wife is fully vaxxed or whatever, and I mean, she's got no side effects or anything. I think it's kind of like, I don't know what the deal is with the vax and why like a lot of people are dropping dead, young athletes. I don't know if it's like certain ones were bad or if it's like was already in their
LeBron's kid, dude. LeBron's kid went down, but
I know he did. Well, a lot of them,
athletes in the world,
a lot of them are young athletes, and a lot of them are actually black. I think a lot of them. I don't know if that's the reach, but my uncle Lou
There's
has
players and shit dropping.
Yeah, he has a book, literally that you could scan a barcode and it brings you to their story, and they're all like heart problems, like cardiac arrest or whatever the story is. But they are all linked to the vax. And
you know what though, Ant? Like that whole time, I think is when people really like. A lot of people started opening their eyes to what the hell was going on with the whole COVID, with the pandemic, the vaccine, the forced mandates, and all that. It's a lot of people.
And I truly got into the conspiracy stuff. I mean, it's not. I wouldn't,
Right. But it's not when you're right.
When you're right,
90% of the time,
you say when you're batting,
you know?
yeah, when you're batting 900 or whatever, you're not really a conspiracy. What did Mr. Ramsey say? He said, really, a conspiracy is just when 2 people conspire of an idea. That's like, it's not necessarily doesn't mean you're crazy in any way. It's just, who said that conspiracy theorist was created by JFK? Did you tell me that?
It was George Bush. George Bush,
whistleblower.
George Bush
Senior
created it. And put it in the CIA.
There's a lot with the CIA. There's a lot of shit out there, man. It's crazy, man. I'm opening my eyes. That's for sure. I'm opening my eyes now.
That's funny.
See?
Well, Human Vibrations, we don't want to keep you too long. We appreciate your time so much. This has been an awesome episode. We're just
really has been.
With this podcast, and to get a guest like you on here is absolutely awesome. We'd love to have you back on again down the road. I know you could go on and on and on. So love to have you on down the road. Appreciate your time. Why don't you let the listeners know where they can find you?
Well, first, let me say thank you so much. I loved chatting with you guys. Wonderful, wonderful chat. It's great we're all coming online in our own time. It's a different process for everybody, and there's a different way in. There's a different way in, and there's a different way out for all of us. I'm happy that you guys asked me on. You can find me on Twitter at Human Vibration. That's kind of my OG repository for all my thoughts and ideas as I was awakening in 2020. And, really it was just a burst of content. So if you're curious about any topic, please search my Twitter. You'll find a whole slew of stuff. I was very prolific back in the day, a little less so these days. I do a lot more on Instagram these days at Human Vibration _Insta over on Instagram. And then where I pour most of my precious time and attention, it has been another platform. It's been the Realize Radio world, the Realize Radio Patreon page. We have a community Discord that has become even more valuable to me than my Twitter has, as I used to say. I mean, I use my Twitter as an encyclopedia, but now I'm able to kind of like crowdsource a whole hive mind of brilliance by just doing the same exercise, searching different topics and stuff on the Realize Radio Discord. It's really, really become an incredible place to share and socialize, but also like discover cool stuff. Yeah, I Patreon's where it's at. And shout out again, can't shout out enough, but Rambo, my co-host, partner in crime, back in 2020, very early, he was one of the people that reached out. He had heard me on Tinfoil Hat. He heard me on Sam. And he had, he was kind of coming online in the same way. And he was like, wow, the things that you said, I don't feel crazy anymore, because like, that's really what I've been thinking lately. And we would send each other stuff, does this look real? Or what do you think about this? And, we had this whole world in our DMs for a while. And then in 2021, we were like, we could make something out of this. We could start a podcast and share. We could like just use our DMs and just talk about what we've talked, we've have so much content. And we recorded our first episode in 2021, Realize Radio. You can find that. We have a Patreon, but we also have tons of episodes out on all platforms available for free. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, whatever. Just look for Realize Radio. And they're old episodes, 2021, 2022, whatever. But it's still hitting. It's still hitting. It's just as present today. The things that we discussed in 2021 are right here, right now. It's very present. So it's fun. And then if you like that, find us on Patreon, because that's where all the action is right now. So.
Check out the Patreon.
That's it right there. That's it right there, because I'm about to join, right?
Yeah, we have lots of different tiers, like $1. You can get as involved. There's lots. You can jump.
Well, you're gonna get my support. You're gonna get my support.
Absolutely.
We're really close to 1,000 members. I think it said 990. We're
Let's
so
go.
close.
So you got 3 here. So we'll
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
It's been organic too.
awesome. Because like honestly, if I thought like when I listened to you on Sam 5 years ago, if I thought I had the chance, now to speak to you myself and ask all the questions I had when I'm listening to the podcast, it's such a cool opportunity. So truly appreciate your time. So make sure
Thanks, guys.
everybody
Yeah.
go and support Human
Same.
Vibration and Realize Radio.
Thank
For sure.
you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Really appreciate you.
Appreciate
Um,
you.
Awesome.
We're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back and recap the episode. Once again, Human Vibrations, we appreciate you joining us here tonight.
Thank you so much.
Boom, boys. That was a banger. That was an absolute banger. Human Vibrations coming through with some crazy, crazy thoughts, some crazy knowledge from John Bonet, 9/11, everything.
Space is not real.
Space isn't real. From the color magenta is popping up and all these big things. And I seen that a while ago. She had a whole thread. I'm going to go back on her Twitter and find that. A whole thread on the color magenta. I'm colorblind, so I thought it was purple.
I have to use Twitter more. I have to use Twitter more. Just as I was scrolling through her Twitter page, she's right. You could use that as like an encyclopedia, because it's like endless links and comments. And I'm gonna definitely start using Twitter.
I use Twitter. So I use Twitter a lot during football season, because like that's where I get all my Hurricanes info. Like a lot of the beat reporters and stuff like that are on Twitter.
Yep.
And then I follow obviously Sam and all the guys. But I started using it for the other podcast, the golf podcast and stuff a little bit, but I don't use it nearly as much as we should because it's a lot more loosey goosey, especially for me with the pitch puff. I can actually do my thing on there. So I might actually start doing a little bit more.
You should, dude. I think we should take advantage. Both of us. I might even start an upstate page as well. Why not? I mean, try to push that social media. It's what it's all about. But shout out Human Vibrations, dude. That was
Awesome.
so awesome, bro. And thank you for like. I say this all the time. When somebody's that big and they give the little guy a shot, I mean that's a true like.
And
really
pull up what's she got? How many, like 10,000 Twitter followers? Probably something crazy like that.
The Twitter, hold on, let me. That's the Instagram.
Sorry, 5,000 on Instagram. So that's
yeah, she's got a big following.
She crushes it. She's awesome.
So awesome, and she was cool as hell, dude. She was so cool.
She was just vibing, bro.
She's vibing.
Mikey, what's your input on? You didn't say much tonight. What's your input on the episode?
I mean, there's just there's just some guests where you just want to sit back and just soak it all in, right? Like, just immediately when she came on, you could just feel the energy, like, and you guys know that I'm all about that stuff. So I was just like, just taking it all in. I follow a lot of what she talks about. I mean, energy, vibrations. The John Bonet thing's crazy though. But the more you look at the pictures, they do kind of look AI-ish as they have slight changes over the years, right? Because they use AI so much now. And
Speaking of pictures, Mikey, the photographer her main photographer was the same photographer that took the picture of the dude, the falling man, the dude who jumped out of the towers.
yeah,
Like there's
yeah,
that one picture of the guy jumping
Yeah.
out on 11 was the same photographer who took that picture.
really. Wasn't
Yeah.
wasn't
Comfy
John
photographer.
Bonet's parents, wasn't her like the actual parents, the dad, wasn't he like some big video guru or picture guru? I'm pretty sure he was. She talked about it in one of her podcasts. I should have asked her. But yeah.
I could, like 1,000 more
And then
questions,
he
bro, because we just kept rolling.
Yeah, and then right after, I think what happened was is like right after the whole John Bonet thing happened, he sold the tech to somebody else for like millions and millions at the time.
We'll have to look into that one. We'll have to do our
Dude,
research.
there's deep. We could go deep,
Everything's
bro.
connected, man. Everything's fucking connected. Like,
Yeah,
and they don't even talk about the brother was in the house at the time. The older brother was in the house at the time.
Yeah.
So, like, there's so many fucking things.
But
that-
yo, I'm legit, Raj. We should all go on right now onto.
I'm actually like, I normally don't subscribe to Patreons and shit like that. Like, I support the only one I support is We Don't Smoke the Same. I'll be perfectly honest with you, because those guys support me.
Yep.
So, like, I'm
But
definitely jumping on.
We're supporting her. I'm on. She's gonna get some new listeners.
Just down today.
Good.
Yeah.
Good, man. Yeah, it's we
her
gotta
shit
support
is
her,
so,
man.
like,
She's cool as hell.
it makes sure like your brain, you're thinking like everybody we've had on from Mark, Tartarian Explorer, Mark, my family thinks I'm crazy,
Yeah.
Dr. Ramsey, to Human Vibrations, dude. Like every one of these people bring something up that make you think. Like you might have thought you had the theory in your head a certain way, and
Yeah.
then they said something, and you're like, oh shit. Like Tartarian Explorer had me fucked up with the chronological order shit, where he's like, it might have happened, but they said it at a certain time, but they said it happened at this time. Shit had me so mind blown that I was like, wow, how could I never have thought of that before?
Is he over there now on that trip? He said he was going.
No, he wants to link up next week or late next week, early next week.
Really?
Late this week, early next week. Yeah.
Really, we're gonna get together that soon. Well, I'm going away this weekend coming up, so let's shoot for the following week because I'm going to DC. But
this weekend you're going to DC?
Yeah.
I thought it was next week. All right, I'll get you that hat.
Yeah. No rush. Shoot for that. I just want to hang out with the Tartarian Explorer, dude. I wish Florida Mike. I wish I had all the money in the world just so I could fly homie up here and hang out with us whenever. Wouldn't that be great?
I had all the money in the world where I could just do whatever I wanted to. Trust me.
I know, man.
Yeah. No, guys, another great episode though. I mean, we're keeping them coming here.
Sure.
We currently don't have any guests lined up. I'll get back on that a little bit. But we do. We got Mikey's Mikey's boy's gonna jump on.
Yeah, he's gonna jump on
for a chop up episode. Who do we got, Mikey? Who's jumping on?
His name's Logan Miller. Lance Miller, sorry. Lance Miller, and he's a Florida boy, but he works out in New Mexico. And he's got some pretty crazy stuff he's gonna show us for sure. It's interesting.
Yeah, you showed me. You already gave me a preview on that, and I'm not going to give any spoilers. But
does he live in the Roswell, New Mexico area?
Ooh, maybe.
I have to ask him. That'll be a question to ask him.
Okay, because I mean, he doesn't even necessarily have to live in that Roswell because that base is so big. He could live fucking anywhere.
Yeah,
in Mexico.
he does live. I know there's something called Spaceport that is owned by Musk.
Okay.
That's close to him. I think it's like 10 or 15 miles away. Maybe they're doing little, UAP activities and whatnot.
what is that guy like? This is going to be a whole other podcast, but what is Elon Musk really up to, guys? What is this guy really up to?
It's tough to
What's
call, man. I don't get him. I don't get him
Oh,
yet, man. I still
I
don't.
don't know.
Mikey.
Agenda.
Mikey's never been sure on him, and I kind of like at first I was like he's on our side, but like he hasn't done anything to show me he's not on our side. But I just
Listen,
don't
I'm
know.
all for finding the wasteful
He's
spending,
got too much power. He's got too much power. I
but
feel like.
something is weird, and something he has another agenda behind all of this. I don't
Yeah.
know what it is.
That's what
The
I
best-
feel like.
you know, like
that's exactly it. Aaron.
I see. It's scary.
Elon Musk is going to be like the new world gangster. And what I mean by like that is like you ever hear of like all the infamous gangsters always gave back to their community.
Oh yeah.
Food,
Like
money.
Carter.
Yeah, like you're giving money for people to start a business, this and that. Like Dubai, the guy hands you money for businesses, right? And then you just never ask questions. Why would you?
Right? No, why would you? You know, that makes a lot of sense, man. I don't know. I don't like the guy very much. I really don't. I don't like his ideas. I don't like his agenda. He wants robots to like take over the world.
Yeah.
It's too much. It's again, and don't forget, guys. He's super brilliant, super smart, but he's a little bit on the spectrum, guys. So it's a little fucking weird. All right, I don't know.
And just like the things he wears when he goes to like the supposed what's it called the gala and stuff, and he wears the Satan's chest armor and it says New World Order on it in Latin or whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
He
Shit like
Um,
that.
We should do an Elon episode, dude. We should just do a whole Elon episode.
I want to do a Titanic episode, an Elon episode.
Pyramid. I want to do a full pyramid episode, 9/11 episode.
A 9/11 episode. We should. I want to get that guy on for a
Yes,
9/11 episode.
Yes. Yeah, well,
He's
keep
also
fingers-
he's the
keep fingers
specialist.
coming.
I'm working on. I reached out to that Elizabeth April or April Elizabeth, the girl from Jesus.
Yeah,
What the
that's all.
fuck?
The blonde hair, the blonde girl.
Yeah, what do you call it? I'm brain
I
fart.
know what you're talking
Oh,
about.
remote viewing. Remote viewing.
Yep.
Yeah.
The remote viewing. So I reached out to her. Hoping
Nice.
to get G on here. I reaced out to him again on my
Nice.
other page.
How about what about your homie? When are you gonna hit what the hell's his name? XG up. I mean, he'll come on just to
So
hang out with you.
I just hit him up.
Oh, you did. Okay, you just
I
said
hit-
that.
Yeah, I hit him up looking to get him on.
Good. Sweet.
Who else, guys? Who like listeners? Who do you guys want to hear from? I will hit them up and try to get them on the pitch or conspiracy chaos.
Don't
That
say
was
that.
close. That
I
was
want, you know
close.
what I want? I'll tell you who
Rotating.
I tell you who I actually would love, dude, and I think he would come on because
do you got, man?
he loves spewing his shit. You might have to find his email. Let's find Flat Earth Dave, dude. Let's find
Oh, yeah. The fittest flat earther or whatever.
Or,
Flat
no,
Earth
the fittest flat earther is a different guy. The fittest flat earther, he's kind of been annoying me a little bit because he's doing all like the facial. He's not even doing any of the flat earth talk. He's doing like the comparing, like what does he do? Like he does like Gary Busey was really like Tom Brady, like shit like that, or like he does like the facial rec, which I find is done. Like there's some that there's lookalikes, but there's some that's like, dude, they're 50 years apart. It's not the same person. But
I
Flat
think the
Earth,
ones that are fake are the ones where he don't go like into real detail. Like there's some where he's like now freckles, you know.
he'll point out right. He points out like 3 freckles on somebody. He's like, oh, they have the same 3 freckles. Blah blah. I'm like, come on, dude. But dude, Flat Earth Dave legitimately will bring probably a full what's the word I'm looking for? Screen share. He'll bring it up. He'll dude. I've seen him on podcasts. I've seen him on other people's episodes. He's
I'll
fun.
check him out. Let me check him out. Let's see what's up.
He's cool to listen to, dude. And again, I'm not going to say I necessarily believe it, but conspiracy world, it's fun to listen and it's fun to kind of give these guys a shot to make us believe, bro. It's fun.
Right, Mikey. Who do you got? Have you got anybody in mind that you want me to reach out to? That you would want to talk to in the conspiracy world that you see on the IG or X or anything like that?
Man, dude, if we could get like Ian Carroll,
That'd be a dope one. He
You
was
know what I
just
mean?
on Joe Rogan, so I don't know if
Dude,
we'll be getting.
Yeah, he
yeah,
was,
but
dude.
dude, legit though. Why? So here's the thing, dude. In their minds, though, do they really care about
I would love to get Sam on.
publicity of do they care about that, or do they just want to get as much of the information out as possible and just love talking about it, just like we witnessed with human vibrations.
Yeah.
Like she enjoy, dude, she could have 3 million followers, but you could tell somebody like her would enjoy just coming on and chopping it up.
Same
So
with Dr. Ramsey. Yeah, same thing.
yeah,
Mark, same,
exactly.
all three, all of them.
All
Really.
those guys. So I don't think it's out of the realm. Again, Raj, I'm not going to bring up what I talked about before about the golf podcast and some of our lists are some of our guys we try getting on there. Dude, we get a circle jerk.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I get a circle jerk, Mike, when I try to get some
Hey.
of these golf content creators. Yeah, sure. I'll come on. Give me reach out to me next month. I got a lot going on. Reach out to me. Like, and it's like, you know what? Why are you? I feel like, why are you better than me in this situation? That's why I'm enjoying the conspiracy end and the conspiracy podcast world, because I feel like I'm not, again, I don't want to bash any of the golf content listeners or creators, but
No, but
dude,
like you're saying,
there's some cool
we're trying to
people,
get
bro.
the point out.
Yeah, there's some cool people in the conspiracy world, and I feel like they'll enjoy coming on our podcast, man. I
They
think it's
enjoy
awesome.
talking about what they're passionate about. It's similar,
Sure.
like, so like the golf guys aren't passionate about what they're talking about. They're just out there to do it to have fun.
Yep.
The people on the conspiracy side of things, like human vibrations, like to really stand on business about like the John Bonet thing, the 9/11 thing, like you're passionate about that shit if you're
Yep.
standing on that shit. You know what I'm saying? So
Yep.
for like to be like, that's why Dr. Ramsey, this smiley face, like he's standing on that shit. Like this is his theory. This is what he believes in. Boom. Like they're passionate about it. They want to get the word out. They want
And
more
he's
people
like,
to know.
he
about
was like literally like, can you guys send me that audio so I could get it on my Patreon? Like, we're just such a small little podcast with I don't even know the numbers, how many listeners we're getting now. But the fact that he wants to
it.
get,
It's not bad. I can
okay,
tell you that. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
all right, okay. I don't know the numbers. I don't care.
No,
But
I'm talking, Mikey. I'm talking about the audio. It's not bad.
really,
No.
are you serious?
Yeah.
We're getting some listens. Okay.
I haven't looked since the first episode I posted, and then I looked the other day, and
All
we're
right.
doing good.
Okay. People are interested then. I love it. That's
It's
great.
we're doing.
31 on YouTube.
Awesome.
What is
dude.
it?
31
Subscribers?
Okay.
subscribers.
Do
Yep.
we need
Yeah,
50?
please help us
50 to
out,
go?
man. Please help us out on YouTube. Subscribe. We'll start banging out some live episodes for you on the YouTube page.
I just
so
with Dr. William Ramsey.
Just drop that
Okay.
one, Dr. William
Yeah.
Ramsey. Okay, good.
I'll drop that audio tomorrow
I
morning.
apologize, guys. I was a little sleepy that episode. So
Yeah,
at the end,
that's what we'll call it.
yeah, I was a little sleepy. I started lounging a little bit at the end. It was a long day, a long Friday, a long week, and I got very tired at the end. So
I thought Ant, there was a couple times, but I thought we lost you.
you might have.
I thought we lost you.
You might have
I
not.
thought we heard a snore. Might even a fucking little
No,
fart
you
or
didn't lose me
something going
sleeping,
on
bro.
there.
You lost me in reality, but you know what, dude? Listen.
Mhm.
I really had a great podcast, sucking all of it in what Dr. Ramsey had to tell us.
Yeah,
He was a
dope.
great.
You gotta check out his
guest.
Patreon as well.
Amazing. Yes, absolutely.
You know
His
who we
podcast
need to get on?
Was that Mike?
You know who we need to get on? I
Yeah.
just
What do you got?
reminded Lou Jacobs. Remember when we had him on? He said he was a conspiracy guy.
Yeah, let's get him
The
on, dude.
country rock singer, dude. He's big. He's got
Yeah,
millions.
the rock singer.
And then-
He's a good one. RGB,
and
he is a good one.
he just did a cover song for Jelly Roll. So I'd love to get Jelly Roll on too.
Dude, you're right. I totally forgot that he knows these guys. He knows all them. So, dude, I'll hit him up and ask him if he's interested in coming on, and just a chop up episode, right? Just be like, no specific topics. Yeah, I'll hit
Just
him
talk
up.
some shit.
Yeah, I'll hit him up. That's a
Do
good
it.
idea, man. Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's do it.
All right, boys. Another great episode. Human Vibrations. Can't appreciate her time anymore. That was fucking awesome episode. Guys, let them know where they can find you. Ant, where can they find you? If you want to post it, or just Conspiracy Chaos, or
Well, we have the other one. We have the Upstate Golf Guys podcast that you guys are both amazing co-hosts of. And don't forget to tell them about your other podcast, bro.
But yeah, we got the Pitch Putt Puff. Go check us out over there if you're a golfer, smoker. We talk a little bit of cannabis, a little bit of golf, a little bit of everything. So check us out over there.
Yes, sir.
And you can find our boy Mike at what? Florida Mike.
Conspiracy Chaos or Upstate Golf Guys, because I'm just like the rotational co-host. You know what I'm saying?
Well, what's your Instagram handle, homie?
Bogey Golf Mike.
There you go.
Mike, there it is, right there. Boom. Check us out. Check us out. Check out Conspiracy Chaos on Instagram. Check it out on YouTube, Twitter, X, whatever the hell it's called. We appreciate all the likes, subscribe, shares, and follows. Appreciate everybody tuning in, and we will check you on Monday with another dope episode of Conspiracy Chaos.
Follow the breadcrumbs, follow moonlight schemes. Hidden agendas ain't as crazy as they seem. Voices in the dark amplifying dreams. Conspiracy chaos, nothing's what it seems.